Well, welcome everybody to the Tiny Room. Once again, we've got an amazing guest in the Tiny Room, another episode of our podcast. For those who are new to the Tiny Room, I'm Lucinda Jane Valentine, the owner and lead therapist here at the Tiny Room Counseling and Therapy. And yes, we have a podcast, and every week we put an episode out. We have awesome guests that come and speak about their mental health journey. We've got an awesome guest today by the name of Lehandi, and we've got a book that she had written, and we are going to get into it today. So Lehandi, welcome.
Thank you, Lucinda. Thank you for having me. It's quite an honor to be here, so thanks so much.
I'm so excited to unpack this because she wrote a book about her story. And obviously we don't have tons of time to obviously get into all the details, but hopefully you'll go and grab the book at the end of this episode. But without taking up other time and talking about other things, I want to get straight into it because you've given me a little bit of insight as to what spurred you on and sowed the seeds to write this book. And it's literally your story.
Yeah.
So like maybe in a nutshell, if you want to give a little bit of background as to not only how the book came about, but just kind of what spurred you to be in the Tiny Room today and do this episode. Because every guest has a yearning and a passion to help people. And I know this book has helped many people. So just throw it out there. Go for it.
So, well, when I started writing this book, it was more of almost like a journaling. So it started off as something very like private, personal to myself. And but all along I knew that I couldn't just keep this to myself. That it didn't become just about me healing, because I healed quite a lot while I was writing the book from past trauma. But then I realized that, Lehandi, you can't keep the story to yourself, because so many people need to hear your story, because you don't know how many people are out there who are struggling with exactly the same thing.
And think they're alone.
Think they are alone. Because for many years, I thought I was alone and I was in this shame bubble and it was just me and no one else felt this way. And until I wrote the book, until I published the book, I realized how many lives, I can touch, and with the reviews coming in of people who have already read the book.
What are some of the reviews in the sense that, what are some of the stories? Because the Tiny Room, we love stories. Obviously we've also got Google reviews, but it's not about a review. It's about the story that somebody's told about how the book has affected them in a positive way. What are some of the common things that you're kind of hearing back from what stirred and shifted things for the reader?
So one of my colleagues actually, she read my book and she just came to me one day and she's like, I thought I knew you, but now I really know you, and thank you, because you revealing yourself like that made me want to reveal myself and take, you freed me. Those were exact words.
Wow.
You freed me, because I was almost like, I'm like the person that's now standing and taking all the hits, and I'm also revealing all the nasty things that no one wants to talk about.
Being very vulnerable.
And a lot of the people that have come to me have said, thank you for your bravery and for being courageous, because now I see that I can also do it. I've also struggled with certain things, and now I have the courage to face it. Not necessarily, like I always say, I'm not saying go on a radio show or TV show or write a book, but now you could do that, because I'm proof that you can do it. But like, if you are willing to look at yourself and really remove the layers, then that's awesome, because that's a step in the right.
But now what got you to that point? Because a lot of people that come to our therapy, and our therapy is a process, it's an 8-session commitment, but they are scared to do therapy, not because the stigma of therapy is you've got to be crazy to come to therapy, because that's not true, but it's our style of therapy is all about the client, and it's not in an uncomfortable way, it's in a very light and breezy way, but you now doing that introspection and that reflecting inward, it can be scary for a lot of people. Like, what got you to do that? Because like, what was your journey like to get to that point?
So I think, for a while, I've always thought that, what is it that I want to do with my life? And I want it to have meaning. And I've always loved writing, but, writing a book looked like a very far off thing to do. It was almost like it's there, but I could never quite reach it. And then, I really am a very, I believe my faith is just my foundation, and I just had this, inclination that I needed to do this. It was scary. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know where to start. Like I was researching publishing houses, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is too expensive. Like, can I do it? And I really didn't think that I was worthy enough to be able to write a book. And until the right people came on my path, and I also reached out, asking questions, did a bit of research. Then I found my publisher, and she coached me through the author process. And I started writing and checking in with someone the whole time, and we had those little sessions. And it wasn't always just about how's the writing going. It was about like, so how are you doing in the process? And at one point I told my publisher, look, I don't think I can write a certain chapter, because you'll see once you get the book, you'll see there's a chapter in there that's really close to my heart, and it was a really tough time for me, and so I just couldn't write. And she said, stop, take that time, take a drive, step away, you don't have to force it, because then it's not real. And it was a really tough process for me, but after I took a step back and I really, I started again, it really helped, and it really helped to connect with someone who, because she's also an author, and so it could really, she could really drive me and check in with me to see how things are going, and to, just reassure me that,
but
it's okay.
But how do you go, I mean, like Lehandi said, this is her story, and it's like an intriguing story, and we really don't want to give much away, but just to kind of give a little bit of tidbits, it's some of the stuff is, well, a lot of the stuff is very personal, and about family and all the rest of it, so it's like, it is bold, it is risky. What was that fire starter? Like, what was that urging pressure thing that was like getting you across the line to like, it needs to happen? Like what?
I think what it was is when I first mentioned it to my husband, he was like, okay, you want to write a book? Okay. And then I started telling him what I'm going to put in the book, and he was like, okay, are you sure about that? And the more I spoke about it, because I constantly spoke about it, and just the support from his side also sort of like prompted me to be like, okay, I can do this. But it was more like something that I feel like I needed to prove it to myself that I can do this, because this is what I love to write. I never thought I would write about myself. I'm too much of a private person. My family is very private, so you can just imagine the shock that my mom got when she read the book. I just felt like I needed to prove to myself that I can, if I put my mind to it, I can do it. And I never thought that I would sit here now, from writing, and I have a published book. So I just, and it's also, I think it's just grace also that carried me, because I just had this thing like, I need to do this for myself, but I also need to do it for someone else, because I always wanted to just encourage and motivate.
Because I picked that up. I mean, I could pick up Lehandi's got this desire to, and some of you watching at the moment, is the desire to see positive change and transformation. Let's say transformation, because I'm not a big fan of the word change, because your personality doesn't change. Your character, behavior, and skill set does, and your personality is set. But so I don't want people to change. I want people to firstly meet themselves maybe for the first time, or get reintroduced to themselves. But for me, it's transformation. We want to see progress in our lives, and I know that you, deep down inside, felt like this book and your story was going to do that for somebody, kind of get them across the line, or sow some seeds, and kind of see that transformation. But as you're journaling, and then it becomes now book writing. Journaling's not for everybody. Okay, I try to journal, and I always tell my clients, you know, I lied to myself for so long. I'm going to be a journaler, and I got the dotted journal, and I got this journal, and it's like I never followed through. So I'm more of a brain dumper, where I'll kind of put down points and bullet points and stuff, and I'll flesh that out somehow. And maybe one day, and I believe next year, hopefully, I'll write something. But as you're journaling, and then it becomes a book, what is this journey when it comes to your mental health and all these deeper layers and gaps and blind spots and all these niggly things? Like, it must have been therapy for you, and opened up a whole nother side to your life, where you start realizing, oh, wait a minute, there's all these other things that I need to also address and stuff like that. What did that look like as things kind of unfolded?
I would like to say that it looked pretty, but it didn't. It was kind of messy.
The book looks pretty.
And you know, and looking at the book and at the cover, I was just reminded now of why I chose the darker colors with me in color.
Okay.
Because the word that you just used, transformation.
Okay.
Because I felt like, you know, I was changing, and also discovering some unforgiveness sitting in trauma that I never quite addressed. Because we were a family of just, you know, sweep under the rug type of thing. You know, we don't speak about it, and I grew up like that. You know, we don't speak about it, and we just move on from it. And so now it's a layer upon a layer. And so when I started writing, I had to really pause and reflect on that, because, you know, I don't know, your mind sort of like blocks off certain events in your life.
Oh, for sure,
and, you know, as I was writing, stuff just came, you know, forward, and, you know, certain things that I thought I'd forgotten, and the emotions or the feelings that came up with it was like, oh, so I haven't really, you know, dealt with that one. Whether it was, you know, forgiving of a parent, or letting go of hurt or pain from a sibling, disappointment, and not just in others but in myself also, looking back and being like, you know, you really were a mess, and, you know, because you end up not just hurting yourself but all the people around you. And so I really needed to be like, you know, and there's stuff in there that I needed to address with my husband, you know. Things that I didn't talk to him about, that he didn't know. And I mean, we've been married for 6 years, and it was almost like something that I just couldn't get myself to say, and it wasn't going to be in the book. But then I put it in the book, because I just felt like I needed to put this down, because it's not spoken about a lot.
I love that.
So it was stuff like that, and it was messy, and, you know, there was a lot of tears, but there was also a very positive conversations that came out of it, because I needed to address it. And my publisher was like, look, you're writing about this, and this, which includes, you know, this family member or whoever. You need to talk to those people before you even think of writing further or publishing. And I was like tippy-toeing. I was like, I don't want to do this. Please, I don't want to. Can I just not do this, and just everyone just be like, surprise! This is in the book.
How ethical would that have been?
So because it didn't only affect me. It affected, you know, my story affects a lot of people.
But you were saying about messiness, and the thing is that I don't know what it is, but when clients come to therapy, they're coming to therapy because things are chaotic and, you know, things are just like what I go like this. That's what it feels like, but there's no better way of describing it. But the thing is, you don't have to have it all together, even when you come for therapy. And like you said, you know, it was messy. Life is messy, but in that messiness, it can be quite beautiful, because I always say life takes dumps on us, and you were going through a process and a healing process and an unofficial therapy process while doing this, because you were kind of forced to speak to certain people that you've been avoiding, but it was leaving unresolved stuff, and it became blockages. So you end up writing the book, you go on a journey, and then you and I meet eventually.
Yes.
Like, what got you to that point where you're like, okay, I'm going to reach out, I'm going to come and see Lucinda, and I'm going to go on my own tiny room journey. Because it sounds like you got through a decent amount of stuff while writing the book. So, like, what happened there? You know?
Yeah, so, you know, there's a part in the book where I speak about going through a bit of depression back in 2019. Not even knowing what depression looked like, because I never put a name to it. And then as I was writing, I wrote about that part in my life, and I realized that I'm writing about depression and, you know, seeking help, and I have never gone for therapy. And I felt a bit like a hypocrite almost, because now I'm like saying, you know, you can seek help, and I listed, you know, all the places that you can go to, and I'm just thinking to myself, but you haven't, after all of these years, I haven't gone for therapy. I never really thought about it, but I knew I had to. Because even though I wrote the book and I had to confront some of the things in my life, there were certain things that I still didn't, you know, have, you know, an answer for. I didn't know what to do. And what you also teach in your sessions is that, you know, you have this limitless potential, and you know, you don't have to have it all together, and you are living life now,
or struggling to live life now.
And I think I met you in that point of like, I was struggling to live life right now in this point in time, because yes, I've written the book, I've gone through that journey, but I needed to figure things out, you know, like what am I doing now going forward after writing the book. So that's how that happened.
Okay, so now I'm dying to know, how did it work out for you, or how did it unfold for you when you now reach out to the tiny room, you start going on the journey of our 8-session therapy process? Just like 2 or 3 things that really shifted and kind of took you through that present struggling state and broke through and took you on that trajectory of living your best life, as we like to say. What floated the most to the surface for you? Like, throw it out there on aha moments and like life-changing things.
I think what really got me, I think it was in the last few sessions, you know, the limitless potential of like, you can, why can't you? Why can't you do it? Why can't you boss your own life, you know? And I just started thinking of like the vision board. So I have that on my laptop, and I was looking at it, and, you know, I wrote their dreams and plans and beliefs and limitless potential. And, you know, that just, because for me, when I wrote the book, I didn't, you know, think about where it would go and what I would do with it. I knew I wanted to encourage and do all of these amazing things with it. But, you know, looking back now, I can see like already I was in my limitless potential phase, almost like there, but I was kind of chaotic. And then the blockages came to the forefront as to like, okay, so what is it that's really like stopping me from, you know, living that limitless potential? And it floated, and it, you know, it was like a combination of, it was family, it was career wise, it was even myself, like because of the unworthiness that I felt for so long. And you know, you spoke about it in the very first session of the pillar that wasn't, you know, in place from the very beginning. And so I started projecting like who I was from other people. but you always say your personality doesn't, you know, it's unchanging, and I needed to come here to be able to see, but you know, I can let go of those things and put these things in place and address certain things and dump certain things,
release
certain
that
people,
dump and release. It's all about the release.
And it there was this one session where I had to write down, you know, all the people in my life and give them colors and all these things, and you know, it was emotional, even though I didn't cry, but I felt like, because I'm now letting go of, even though I'm writing it on a piece of paper, I'm letting go of things and of people that no longer, that don't serve me well in this journey, and you know, I needed to do that, because I'm one that I will just keep on carrying this, you know, bag.
There was also a lot of guilt,
you
know, obligation and guilt. It holds a lot of clients back.
To just take everyone with you that has always been, you know, with you, but you know, the question was like, what do they bring to the table? What do they bring to
add value? Do they? Don't they?
Like, why are they there? So the tough questions, but in a very gentle way, came out. And
the answers were always there. And we always say, the clients actually have, you all have the answers. It's just clouded by so much stuff. And it's even interesting that you did something so bold as writing a book, yet you still didn't quite see that you had limitless potential. And so the thing is, when you're going through therapy, we are looking, and it's not counseling. Counseling is short term, it's 3 to 4 sessions, it's more incident based or situational. But therapy is unpacking, rebuilding, gaining that perspective and clarity. But it's your physical health, your environment, which I know was not a huge blockage, but it was quite a blockage, because in your environmental part of your life, you have humans. And it's a lot of the time there's relationships with those humans that are, like you said, I call it slogging dead horses. And you need to release those dead horses at some stage, regardless of feeling obligated or guilty. It's just, you know, there's a couple of things that we need to sort out there, but then it's behavioral, it's your actions, choices and decisions, your emotional state, and then also your psychological, which is your thought pattern, which, like you said, your thought pattern or your default setting was created on so many people around you that it wasn't reflecting 100% Lehandi. And that's what we want. We want clients to boss their lives, but authentically, genuinely reflect every detail of themselves, their personalities. But if you have no cooking clue what that is, you need to go and have that get figured out. You know what I mean? Do that here, you know? So there's a lot of unpacking, rebuilding, resetting, rebooting. But then once you break through in that last phase in our 8-session process, it's like the clarity is there, the perspective is back, but 100% Lehandi perspective. Not someone else's. Yours. And then it's like you knew the limitless potential was there, because you said you sort of saw it underlined. It was there. But it just needed to kind of break. It needed to break through fully. For you to now be very protective over it, and also just like ride that home. You know. And you can't. It's now really set free. You can't. There's no. You can't rein it in. You can't rein it in now.
It's just like I want to just do everything now.
and so like I just saw how you flourished, and I saw how you grappled with a couple of things, but at the same time I could see how those positive shifts were gaining momentum, and now it becomes part of your DNA, your muscle memory. It's your default setting now, you know, and you know yourself like you know yourself now. You know, you like and love yourself, because you need both, by the way. And so now, just for the viewers and you know, those watching that want to get hold of your book, like, what can they do? How do they get their hands on your book?
So I have a Facebook page, Gracefully Broken by Lehandi Slabbert.
Love it.
So you can DM me on there. And then you can also direct message me on Instagram.
Love it.
And then a WhatsApp. And I will give all those details for you. So so you can direct message me or on social media. And also the book is available at exclusive books at the waterfront. So if you want to take a drive,
I love the waterfront.
you can go there.
Waterfront in Cape Town. exclusive books. We will put all the links below, all the handles.
Yeah.
And with the WhatsApp number, can they find that WhatsApp number on the Facebook page?
It's on the Facebook page.
Okay, amazing.
Yes.
So we'll have everything in the description.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to having a copy on our client bookshelf, so that it could be a complete investment into somebody's life and kind of change hands. Get it as a gift for somebody once you've read the description and kind of maybe read it yourself and realize that it can be a huge asset to somebody who's maybe going through some of this stuff. But thank you so much for being here, but
Thank you for having me.
But being vulnerable and bold and courageous and brave to write your book. You know, I'm in awe at what you've achieved. I'm inspired, and I know a lot of you are. Any questions that you have, pop it in the comments. Send love, send encouragement. You know, Lehandi, even after doing something so awesome, still reached out because she wanted to be the best version of herself, even beyond this. So if you are somebody that's sitting and struggling in silence, or are scared that you're going to be judged, we are a safe space that is completely accepting, unconditionally loving. We see our clients, we hear them, and we wholeheartedly love you guys. So just any questions, reach out to us. We'll also have all our details below, and you can go and book on our website, www.thetinyroomtherapy.com. And we got 3 therapists now, very exciting. Our team is expanding, so we've got a Afrikaans therapist now who serves all of our Afrikaans speaking clients. So Mandy, shout out. And then we've got Kirsty, part of our team. She has a huge passion for grief, depression, anxiety. Her experience is in palliative care, so she's really walked a journey with people that have been on the road to, you know, leaving this earth. And there's no more hectic version of grief than that. So, and she has a huge passion for moms. So if you're a mom, a single mom, and you feel like you have to have it all together, you really don't. It's messy, life is messy, reach out. And we just appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lucinda.
It's been so much fun. And we are looking forward to seeing more guests along the way. We will have Lehandi back in a couple of months' time, and we'll unpack some of your common comments, you know, and we will just get deeper into that. So we'll definitely swing back around. But we love you guys. Have an awesome week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.